Hey guys, I was wanting to tell my coming out story. So, well, first let me say a little something about myself. That I'm of the New Age metaphysical spiritual mindset, so some of this might sound a little woo-woo or out there for some people, but anyways, this is my story. Growing up in high school, I never even gave my sexual identity a thought. Now thinking about it, I was probably in heavy denial about my homosexuality. But when I was 19, I was living with a friend and her family, and we were sitting by a tree in her yard. Now, I don't know what kind of tree this was. It was a beautiful tree. It had purple flowers to it, but other than that, I don't know anything about it. It's not my area. But while sitting next to this tree, I just felt the urge, a strong urge within myself, just kept saying, "Tell her, tell her, tell her." So at this point, I told her that I was gay, or I might have said I was bi at the time, because for a while I was claiming to be bi, although I never had sex with girls, and I've had a couple of sexual experiences with guys. So I came out to her, and within a couple months, I met this guy who I knew I was going to spend the rest of my life with, and so I just, instead of saying I was bi, I just decided to say I was gay. And then I started coming out to the rest of my friends, telling them I was gay. And I became so comfortable with that, I ended up putting it on MySpace that I was gay as my sexual orientation. Well, because I was living with my friend's family, I was obviously not living with my parents, but one time we went out to eat after church with them, and my mom decided that she was going to suggest that I come back to her place. So I didn't think anything of it. I was just like, sure, why not? Well, actually, let me backtrack. We went out to eat, and then on the way home of them supposedly taking me home, they decided that they conveniently missed the turn that they had to take to my house. Turns out that it was more planned, that she ended up asking me to come over, so I did. And then as soon as we got there, she had asked my brother to go upstairs because they had to talk to me. And so I felt that was kind of unusual. And so my parents, my mom and my stepdad, took me upstairs to their computer, and they had already had my MySpace pulled up, said this is obviously some kind of ambush or something. And they came up and pulled up my page and asked me why I said it was gay. Now, my mom is a very intimidating sort of person, just very powerful, overwhelming presence, especially during confrontation. But this is the first time I ever remember feeling the power inside to be able to say that yes, I was gay. When she asked me, she said, "Why does it say that you're gay?" And I matter-of-factly said, "Because I am." Like, I was kind of confused by it. And so then they continued to tell me why I wasn't gay and how it was wrong and how I was confused and didn't know what I was talking about. And this is not a new thing with my mom. There are other things in my lifestyle that she tells me I'm wrong, such as my spiritual beliefs. She's very Baptist, Christian raised, where I'm very open to all different kinds of faiths. And so anyway, so I'm not unused to her confronting me like this, and so she's continuing to tell me how I was wrong and how I was gay. And so again, another first time that I just decided to stand my ground and tell her that I did not want to be a part of this discussion and that I wanted to be taken home right then and there, which they honored, and they took me home. So that was about a year after I came out to my friend that I was living with. And so about a year after I got confronted with my parents, because I feel very close to my aunts and my grandmother, and they feel like best friend sort of relationship to me. I feel very close to them, and I felt very uncomfortable hiding my sexuality from them. So, my birthday being New Year's Day, on New Year's Eve, about 2 years from now, well, 2 years from my last birthday, before we left, I pulled my aunts upstairs into their apartment bedroom and came out to them. Well, my mom kept coming upstairs every once in a while, and the more she came up, the more suspicious she seemed. Well, finally, she broke up our conversation and told me, well, if I'm going to tell my aunts, I'm going to tell my grandmother, because she is very Christian as well, but she's more what I consider to be a true Christian, where she's loving and accepting. So she pulls my grandmother up there and tells me, and my mom's just telling my grandmother how I'm gay and how wrong I am and this and that, with me not saying anything because my mom was very intimidating. Well, I'm very intuitive and mainly clairsentient, meaning I get my intuitive impressions through my feeling and clairaudience. But I was having a feeling of strong support, and I felt as if somebody was standing behind me, and then out of my peripheral vision, I seen what I think is an angel stand next to me, and I felt the presence of a second one behind me. So I felt enough support from the universe to look my mom straight in the eye as she was talking, and then so my mom decided to tell my grandmother about bringing spiritual things, not just my sexuality, but how I don't believe in the devil and I don't believe in hell. And my grandmother asking me this, and I, confirmed what my mother was saying. And let me backtrack and say that when my mom first told my grandmother that I was gay, or when I came out, my mother made me tell my grandmother myself that I was gay, so I did, and came out and told her, and my grandmother looked at my mom and said, okay, if he's gay, I still love him anyways, which to me was a very powerful and profound thing. First of all, for my grandmother to say, she's more of a timid sort of type, doesn't stir up controversy, doesn't really argue or debate, and so for her to say that made me feel very, very loved. And although my grandmother doesn't necessarily agree with it, she was willing to say to my mother that she didn't really care about me being gay. She still loved me anyway, or at least that's what I got from it. And so that's pretty much it. I'm very out and open to my friends. I'm obviously gay, but I'm not super flamboyant, and so it's not really much of a secret to my friends or any coworkers or anything like that. But at the same time, I'm not gonna go out and say I'm gay to every person I meet. I don't find that's necessary. But if somebody were to ask me, I'm gonna tell them straight up, yeah, I'm gay. That's pretty much my story, other than the fact that I don't really have a close relationship with my father. I don't see him much, maybe every few years or so I'll even contact him. But my siblings that are his kids, they're all half siblings to me, found out on MySpace, and I was talking to my dad, and my dad, who of the two parents I would have thought would be least open to it, was actually the most accepting, and he told me straight up that he didn't care if I was gay, and he still loved me anyway, and it didn't make a difference to him. Although he's not of the religious type, so that probably had a lot to do with it. Other than that, that's pretty much my story. I'll be making future videos this one I just wanted to do right now for National Coming Out Day. So look forward to future videos. This is technically my first video, but it's not officially my first video. So anyways, I just wish everybody happiness and personal power, and feel confident in who you are and what you are, because it's just that, what you are and who you are, not anybody else's decision to make. I'll talk to you later. Namaste.